Steve, episode 28 of the Broadway block. Came off a win, wasn't our best game. Obviously, Igor played lights out, kept us in it. What did you like about the game? What did you not like about the game?
Well, like you just said, Igor was the man. That was unbelievable. We were ridiculously outshot. The face-off numbers were concerning, record-setting. It was abysmal. A lot of the chances against, I mean, they had two posts in a row. There's a lot of points where that could have just been completely outhandled. Obviously, we walk away with 2 points. These are the games I feel like we never used to win. I feel like I remember a lot of times where we would outshoot the opponent, 9-2, and then they would end up squeaking out a goal. So this was one of those games where it ended up in our favor. But what did you like about it?
Well, I like that the big dogs got out there. I like that Mika goal. I knew right away. I was like, that was a goal. There was no way. And then it bounced right back out. I was like, there's no way. They didn't hit anything. I was like, oh, thank goodness they reviewed it. Obviously, I like the Breadman getting the game winner. He needed that. We needed that. We need to get those guys scoring more. That's like what you were saying. We were normally last year in close games and we weren't always the team to pull it out. So that's where when you have someone making $11.5 million on the books and they win the game for you, you're like, yep, checks all the boxes for you. So I like that. And Igor's play was great. We had talked about it. I think you said you got to play the hot hand, which was Igor at that in the previous episode. So that's great. Here's a question. So we're in Nashville. Do they stick with Igor or they give him a break so he's charged up for the weekend and go with Grigoriev? Who do you think's in net tomorrow?
Well, I mean, if it's me, it's Igor, but that ultimately will rely on the, strength of schedule maybe moving forward. I feel like if it's a team that you feel like you can take a break from, which I don't feel like Nashville is that, it's a little too early to say that. Although there's some crazy, stats going on around the league. If you were to bet, would you have thought that the Buffalo Sabres would have the same exact points as the first place team in the entire National Hockey League? At this exact moment, they're tied for first place in the entire league. The Montreal Canadiens are 0-4, and they were in the finals last year.
What do you think? Jack, what do you think Jack Eichel is thinking?
You got to create an attractive spot. They've been struggling to do it for years, but I think their relationship is completely tarnished. I feel like that is a whole different topic and a whole different video, but they're not exactly making themselves look like a bad place. But how sustainable is this? We could be talking about a 3-7 Buffalo Sabres in a couple weeks from now. So back to the divisional, play. Like if you feel like you're going to play a team that maybe you can sleep on, but I think it's a little too early to count on Nashville not having, especially after 3 days of having some rest. Igor, for me, we'll see what goes with. But I mean, 2 goals in the last, I'm sure his save percentage is in the 950 range right now. It's unbelievable. And minus a few shaky goals early on, I feel like he's going to be a Vezina candidate already this year.
Gotta love it. Going back to, we touched on the Vitaly Kravtsov saga. I guess we can call it a saga now because it's definitely going to be drawn out into one. The reports I'm reading today was he was asked to come back. I don't think he's going to come back. Been reading some trade speculation that there's been 5 teams involved, but you never really know because what if Vitaly's agent's putting out that info to try to make him sound like, he's more highly sought after. But we definitely could use him. I don't know if we're getting Strome back for the Nashville game yet. Did you hear anything on that?
Looks like he's going to be ruled out, but there should be only one more game for that, and hopefully Kako is right behind him. I feel like these are the games that we want to get out to this, early lead. We were 0-2 and the sky was falling. We're 1-1, and you win these 2 games and I feel like immediately in the discussion of, are we legit? Can we keep it going? I feel like the grit card is being like a common theme to pick fun at, but the reality is the lone regulation goal was the direct result of Reeves staying on the ice from a prolonged fourth line shift where they got the puck in deep. The pressure is what forced Campbell to make a bad pass. Again, another physical play along the boards. The puck springs loose, and it's immediately on the guy you want to have the puck, maybe minus a couple other guys on the team. But Mika doesn't even get all of it. The puck kind of knuckled on the way in there, and he still manages to snipe it right past him. So I feel like it shouldn't be an underlooked element moving forward, that now that we have that bottom six, you could say, that now that top six needs to be replenished with these guys that we're missing, so that that rollover can really affect it, because Gallant likes to play all four of those lines for those reasons.
Agreed. I definitely still think we're lacking on the power play. Something's going on where we're just not getting enough going. I think our first power play, we put up like 2 shots. That was it. So obviously that's going forward. That's something that's definitely got to get addressed. You mentioned it, the face-offs. Obviously the hitting's great, but bottom line is you got to win face-offs if you're going to win in the NHL. So I don't know who's got to take more. We saw Mika last year. I think he was less than like 30%. So this year, we got to win more faceoffs, and we got to do more in the power play. What do you think we could do differently in the power play?
Well, I mean, you said it. We were dead last in the league in faceoffs last year, and one of the things about hitting means that you don't possess the puck when you do so. So it's a matter of intent. David Quinn always says your intentions, but are you hitting after a dump and chase? Because a lot of the times we would do a dump with no chase. So are you hitting with purpose because you intended to put someone in a bad position? Because as Ryan Reeves actually said, I like when they look up the ice, because I know that they know that I'm on the ice, because then the next time when he's not on the ice and it's Hedel behind them, they're still going to look up and they're not going to make that confident play. So it's really just to not only keep him honest when he's on the ice, but to make the opposition think about it before they have to do it. And you saw that hesitation, which is directly what led to that goal. So for me, it's the face-offs on the power play, and you have to be able to just shoot the puck. You can't look for that pretty play every time. And any person that covers the Rangers will tell you this, that we try to thread that needle maybe one too many times. And I would prefer, some of these shots to just maybe come from the point, especially when you host a top four, as the Rangers do, when Lindgren is your worst shot, and he's not a bad one, to at least get it on the net, get traffic in front of it. Like we talked about, I feel like the net front presence is going to be so key, whether that be Blais finding a spot on the second unit, and obviously Kreider continuing to do a good job in that department. But it all starts with getting the pucks in the net. You can't do anything net front if the shot doesn't come off, and that needs to be more like 3 or maybe 4 shots. And it's also about retrieving it and getting these defensemen to start shifting around, because if they can just make the quick and easy block or a clear. And in my opinion, I feel like a penalty kill is just too easy in the modern NHL. I would really love to see a slight modification to the rule. Maybe you have to skate it up a little bit further before you can just shoot it down the ice, because it really, especially for a new fan, if you're watching the game for the first time and you're watching it during a power play, this is supposed to be a really exciting, really intimidating time. And it seems like people can just get their sticks in the lane, just have to tap it once, and it's the way it goes.
What overtime is. Overtime's a lot of fun.
Overtime, talk about that game, man. That was one of the most wild overtimes I've seen in a long time.
There was like 3 Austin Matthews shots that I was like, oh, there it is again. We lost it. And he was even on the bench, like over there crying. And I was like, man, we got so lucky that didn't fall. But that's a lot of the time in the NHL. Like, you put the best people out there, and sometimes you got to get the hockey gods to give you a little luck in your favor. One other point I wanted to bring up this week was, haven't seen much from Hedel yet this year. Haven't seen him much of making anything happen. He had a good preseason, you would say, but really haven't seen too many shots and too many assists like we had seen previously. Do you think that's something to worry about, or he's just getting used to the new lines and kind of getting used to Gallant system? Do you think it's a
Well,
worry or you think it's okay?
I think Heedle's style is one that could either benefit from Gerard Gallant or make him play a style that he's really not accustomed to, kind of forcing like that square peg. But I feel like Heedle is a guy that you can expect to break out when a guy like Strome returns, because he's already showing that he can do well when he's in that role, like you said, the preseason game where he lit it up, and the third line role that he's accustomed to. But he's also been a victim of injuries, mean schedules, or the lines rather switch around, and there's already been, the Kravtsov situation, which he had spent time with to start the season. So it really hasn't been a fair crack for Hedel, and it's looking apparent that the face-off woes have a bit to do with Hedel, as he had the lowest numbers in that game, and it's also a direct correlation to him being out there against second line talent and maybe being, on a line with Panarin and Kako, hopefully in the future. But a guy like Barclay, even that's asking a lot from Barclay Goodrow, in my opinion. So we'll see if there's some continuity, if we can get a healthy line together and hopefully get him some line mates that stick. Then Hedel looks prone for breakout. But barring healthy Strome, I don't see for now Hedel really picking up until he has a few more years of experience under him. He's still very young.
Yep. All right. Well, I think that wraps it up for episode 28 of the Broadway box. Steve, we always appreciate your time and insight, and we look forward to the Nashville game, guys.
Talk to you soon, brother.
Thank you.